Leave everything you know about bass fishing lures behind as I explain some of the best lures to use in ponds and rivers and some different ways to use these lures that I have personally had really good experience with. Thanks for watching. Let's get into the video. So the first lure that I would like to share is the frog. A lot of people know about the frog, but it's one of my favorite lures that I've ever used. I love the explosions it gets all on the water. The best times that I know to throw these is the evening. I use them in the evening a lot. I've actually, the interesting thing is, at around like this pond right by my house, it's like, I've hit it to like where it's like 7:30 at night to maybe 8:30 at night, and then it kind of dies down a little bit. I don't know if that's because I caught a lot of bass on it or what, but I've kind of got the time down, which is kind of funny. I don't know if that time would work for y'all, but you know, and then in the morning as well. You can throw them in the middle of the day, but the frog works tremendously well in the evening and morning. The one thing I will say about the frog is I would get the frog that has a little bit pointier of her nose, that it looks just a little bit more natural. If you see this one has like a popper, it pops on the water. This one you can just kind of drag a little bit on the water. This one I've been, you know, they both work great, but this one I have been catching a lot of fish on, so I do recommend any shaped frog. The color really doesn't matter to me. I use green. There's yellow, there's black and white, and black and gold, I guess. And then a tip that a unique tip that I've experienced and that I use is I actually throw the frog about a foot, 6 inches to a foot onto the bank, and what that does is I believe it makes it look a little bit more natural. You know, let's face it, you know, you're not going to have a frog just fall magically out of the sky and land right in the middle of the pond. You know, sometimes that'll work, throwing it, you know, in the middle of the pond, but I think it looks a lot more natural, and I think I get a lot more bites throwing it a little bit on land and then dragging it back into the water. And usually as soon as that frog hits the water, maybe a couple seconds later, a bass explodes on it. So that's the top lure that is #1 for me, is the frog. A lot of people already know about the frog, but if you're new to fishing, you may not. And here's a video that I will share. I'm going to do this for each lure of the video of the lure that I'm using actually working. So there you go.
Oh, got another one. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like, he is a feisty thing, and he's not even that big. Dude. He's in there somewhere. He is in there somewhere. Yep, there he is. He is not even that big. And he was yanking on that line. Oh. This one's been caught a couple times before. Get all this grass off here. Well, he was barely hooked too. Alright. Small one.
So lure #2 that I will be sharing is the pink Senko. It's basically tied with the frog for me, my two favorite lures to use in a pond. And it's pretty simple to like hook up and use. There's a spot here, I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a little spot where it don't have the grooves in, and you just basically put the hook right through it, and then you go fish. That's all you do. Now for the frog, back to the frog here. With the frog and the Senko, I just use braided line. I've tried many different lines, and they all get just knotted up and stuff. So braided line for me, 8 to 10 pound is what I usually use. But anyway, the best time that I've personally had the best luck with the Senko is in the middle of the day. You can use them evening, morning, but middle of the day is when I usually have the best luck with them. And what I like about the pink Senko is if you're fishing a pond, no matter the size of the pond, if you have like a high spot, right, and like a dock or a little hill that's very close to the pond, if you get up on that high spot and you kind of look into the water, you can actually, if it's a clear pond and there's not too much algae on it, you can sometimes see, like this pond by my house. If I get up on the dock, I can usually see them, and I cast towards them. And in fact, this past week, 2 weeks ago, I caught the biggest bass of 2025 on the pink Senko for me, and potentially the biggest bass that I've ever caught. Write in the comments what you think the weight of that bass was. I'm horrible at guessing the weight of the bass and the age of deer. But anyway, the pink Senko is a very good lure. And back to a little story about my big bass that I caught this past week. I got up on the dock, high spot, and looked into probably a hole about this big. A pond's covered with a little bit of algae right now, and so I casted this pink Senko into a hole, and I saw 3 bass there, and it was probably about a ½ pound and a couple of 2 pounds or whatever. So I casted it in there, and as soon as it hit the water, the probably ½ pound bass went straight after it. And as soon as that bass went straight after it, I felt my line just go straight down, and I felt a lot of dead weight on it. And usually that means you got a pretty good sized fish on there. And sure enough, I did. I'll put the video of that catch on here. But I was dragging it in, and he kept trying to get up out of the water, and thankfully I was able to land him, the biggest bass of 2025 and potentially the biggest bass that I've ever caught on this. That's it. So the pink Senko, I totally recommend it. And let's move on to lure number 3. Thanks for watching.
Just saw a big one. There he is right there. Couple feet away from it. Oh, couple there actually. Oh, look. Oh my goodness. Look at the size of this one. Oh, he's going through the thick stuff. Don't jump, don't jump. Oh my goodness. Look at the size of this bass. No, 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 no. No. Oh my god. Wow, look at the size of this fish. Look at the size of that fish right there. Oh wow. What a giant. Look at the mouth on the sucker. Wow. It looks like a small striped bass. Wow. Oh my goodness, this is one I wish I could get mounted. Look at the size of that fish.
Okay, so lure number 3. I'm actually going to do a little. I got my aquarium right here to my right, and I'm actually going to show you how to use a fluke in the little aquarium that I have right here. Pretty simple to use, but if you're new to fishing or you're trying to find some different lures, this is certainly a very good lure to use. Actually, personally, I just found this lure last year. I've always known it's been there, but I just didn't know how to rig it up on the hook or whatnot. And so let's kind of get into how to rig it up on the hook. So basically, you want to take the head of the fluke here and just put it up a little bit, in just a little bit, up to where the hook starts to curve a little bit. And then right before you get into that slot right there, you want to just pull the hook through right there, just like that. And then you want to kind of move the fluke around just a little bit. Sometimes you'll break the fluke, sometimes you won't. And then now you have it like that, to where the flat part of the fluke is resting up just like that. So now what you want to do, I think I have too small of a hook here, but anyway, you want to put the hook up through the slot right there in the bottom of the fluke, and you want to just pierce the back of the fluke here. And again, I have too small of a hook here, and then you just want to let that hook rest right there. Again, I would recommend a bigger hook, but these are the hooks that I've been using for the fluke, and they've been doing pretty well. The color of the fluke, I just use white. You know, they've got plenty of other colors out there, but I've had the best luck on white. And a little tip that I would like to share is a lot of times the bass will actually hit the back end because there's a lot of movement right there. When you're using the fluke and you see the bass or whatever fish you're fishing, usually bass, when you see it come up out of the water, or when you feel that hit, let it sit there for a minute, for like a split second longer, and then yank back, because sometimes they'll just hit that tail and then they didn't get the whole lure. And these lures are good to use middle of the day. I find that, you know, anywhere from noon to 5 o'clock at night or whatever, that's the best time that I know that I've personally have had the best luck with. Let's see, got the time, got the color, the weather. I usually use it in the sun. Casting along the banks, along the sides of the pond is usually where I throw these. Sometimes I cast it in the middle of the pond, and sometimes the bass hit it, but especially here at the pond at our house here, there's a lot of algae on the side, and I just kind of let that fluke just go right down into that algae, flick it a little bit, and then usually pretty good sized bass comes up out of there. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you actually how to kind of use this in the aquarium here to my right, and let's move on. Thanks for watching. All right, so lure number 4 here is the Rebel crayfish. It's one of my favorite river lures to use. I use the brown, and then there's also a green one. There's a couple of different colors, but the brown and green are the ones that I mainly use, and I have caught tremendously a lot of fish on the brown and green ones. I actually just went on July 4th, a couple days ago, and the water was a little murkier, so I went to the brown one. Started off with the green crayfish and went to the brown one, and as the day started to go, I started to catch a lot more on the brown crayfish because the water was a little murkier. So there's a little tip for you. So if the water is a little murkier, use the brown one. This will work in ponds too, but I usually just use it for smaller rivers. I just use braided line, 8 to 10 pound, and there's not much really to say. It works very well. Sometimes gets knotted up, but that's gonna happen. So let's move on to lure number 5, and that'll be our last lure. Thanks for watching.
Oh, got one. Finally. It's a bass. There we go. There's a good one. Thank you, God. Whew, that was getting interesting. All right, on the brown crayfish there. Not a bad one. Nice colors. All right, so the last lure that I'm going to show you is a really great lure that I have a lot of luck on, especially on a day like this when it's raining. And this, I don't know why, but this lure works very well for me when it's raining and after rain, and that is the spinner bait. Now this is the Guggen spinner bait. I use all kinds of spinner baits. It doesn't, again, the brand doesn't matter to me. Any brand that'll catch a bass. But I have found, I really like this Yozuri brand. I think it's a Chinese brand or whatever, but and it's got this little ball, and it's like a weight, and there's different sizes of the weight. They got a smaller ball, and then this one's a little bigger. My favorite color spinner bait to use, especially when it's raining, is white.
just looks like a fish going through the water, and it really does quite well for me. But as you see, I didn't put any trailers on them. I actually have pretty good luck with no trailers on it, but if you want to see one that I use with a trailer on it, this is what it looks like. It's pretty simple to put on the hook, and but that's about it for my favorite lures that I use in ponds and rivers. I'm only going to have one lure for the river, but if you go to light tackle with the spinner baits and the flukes and stuff, it'll actually work on the river too. You know, like the micro lures, they make them for the smaller rivers. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and thanks for watching.